I think. So we have a good number of attendees as of now. So hi, good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're keeping well. So everyone can hear me out. Uh, so my voice is audible to all. So can you just raise your hand on your screen, which was there on the right hand side? Okay. So hi, good afternoon, everyone. Uh, Hope you're doing well. Hope you're keeping well, keeping yourself well. So this corona pandemic is one of the biggest challenge of the current scenario, wherein every country in the world, every country is from this challenge, and in terms of pandemic, your uh, in terms of medication, in terms of health issues, as well as the financial crisis which is there. I think we have to be patient, and we have to be keep ourselves busy in something like reading books, reading updates, and whatever the changes are there in the current scenario, what are the opportunities in the current scenario and in the upcoming world. एंड आई थिंक सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट है अभी के टाइम में कि आप अपने आप को थोड़ा सा बिजी रखें, जिसमें कुछ नया कुछ नई चीज पढ़ें, कुछ नया वैल्यू एडिशन करें अपने लिए, और आप उसके साथ में कुछ रियलाइज करें अपने आप को कि अभी तक मतलब हमें और क्या करने की जरूरत है, और आने वाले टाइम में क्या इनोवेशन हम कर सकते हैं जिससे हम लोगों को आगे फ्यूचर में बेनिफिट हो. So, so as far as the India scenario is concerned, we are still stabilized, and we have some issues going on. We have number of cases increasing day on day basis, but still, as comparing to other countries, wherein if I am talking about the US, so US is having somewhere around 8 lakh or 9 lakh patients, wherein deaths are already increased by 60,000, I suppose. And wherein the other European countries, all are very much in pain as of now. So if you are looking at the number of cases, so still Europe and America has already suffered a lot as of now, and still if you are looking after the Asia's part, Asia is still in a stabilized position, wherein it was started in China. Post that, it was rooted in America as well as the US. So US and Europe. एंड पोस्ट दैट अभी इंडिया में भी थोड़े केसेस इंक्रीज होने शुरू हो गए हैं कुछ लोगों की वजह से, जिसकी वजह से अब ऑल्दो अभी भी स्टेबलाइज हो गई. लॉकडाउन अभी जो अनाउंस हुआ है वो 3rd of May तक हुआ है. अभी रिसेंट जो अपडेट आया था, कल का जो अपडेट आया है, उसमें उन्होंने क्या कर अलाउ कर दिया है, दे कैन ओपन अप एस्टैब्लिशमेंट, दे कैन ओपन अप शॉप्स, बट there is a recent change wherein in Delhi and in Maharashtra you cannot open the shop, or you cannot open your offices. उसमें भी इन्होंने काफी restrictions लगाए हुए हैं कि 50% से ज्यादा स्टाफ नहीं होना चाहिए आपका, प्लस आपका नियर योर म्युनिसिपैलिटी एरिया से मतलब नियर टू योर लोकेशन विद इन द लिमिट्स, उसके अंदर ही वो भी शॉप्स को अलाउ करें, नॉट द ऑफिसेस. तो अभी रिस्ट्रिक्शंस काफी सारे हैं, एंड 28th of April के बाद ही होपफुली वी कैन हैव समथिंग जिसमें कुछ रिलीफ. अगर 3rd May तक की जो अपडेट्स हैं वो RPM विल अनाउंस दैट कि कोई हमारे अगर क्रिटिकल इश्यूज नहीं है, देन वी कैन स्टार्ट फ्रॉम 4th of May, एंड इफ क्रिटिकल इश्यूज आर इंक्रीजिंग डे ऑन डे बेसिस, देन उसके बाद फिर हम लोगों का ये लॉकडाउन फिर भी एक्सटेंड हो सकता है. So as of now we have to keep ourselves well. हम लोगों को थोड़े से प्रिकॉशंस लेके रखने हैं. स्टिल अगर ऑफिस खुल भी जाते हैं उसके बाद भी हमें प्रिकॉशंस लेके रखने हैं. जैसे वी हैव टू यूज सैनिटाइजर ऑन regular basis. We have to keep the sanitizer on in our offices, as well as we have to use the mask mask can be you can just use the cloth, you can just use the mask, or you can just use anything to cover up your face, where where you can not able to try to interact when you're interacting with someone, so it can reduce the possibility of getting infected. So I think uh, you should not go anywhere if not required. If necessary not required, then you're not supposed to go anywhere. You can just do your work, and I think अभी जो आने वाले टाइम में 1 से 2 महीने का जो टाइम है हम लोग के लिए बहुत क्रिटिकल है. अगर हमारे केसेस स्टेबलाइज हो जाएंगे तो हम लोगों के लिए दिस इज वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट अपॉर्चुनिटी, सिंस सारी कंट्रीज सफर कर चुकी है. अगर इंडिया में अगर नहीं होता है तो हमारे लिए बहुत बड़ा अचीवमेंट हो जाएगा आने वाले टाइम में. इंडिया को काफी लोग जो अभी तक जो इंडिया को लोग एक्सपेक्ट जो इंडिया में अभी तक जो एक्सपेक्टेशंस थी इंडिया के लिए कि इंडिया में काफी सारे लूप होल्स हैं, काफी सारे प्रॉब्लम्स हैं कि जिसकी वजह से इंडिया में सफरिंग ज्यादा होती है. बट अभी एज ऑफ इंडिया में जो केसेस है एज कम्पेयर टू अदर कंट्रीज, वी आर स्टिल वेरी मच अंडर कंट्रोल. और अच्छा, meanwhile, as far as finance minister is concerned and the RBI governor is concerned, so they have issued some benefits to the persons in the economy, wherein some rate reduction is there, some benefits in terms of loan moratorium is there, and in terms of interest waiver or in terms of loan waiver. So whatever the benefits passed on by the government, some financial benefits is passed by the government. Uh, so, so I would like to introduce first my colleague uh, Kanika Bali. So
Hello everyone.
she is a chartered accountant by profession, as well as DESA qualified, which is a post qualification course of CA. So she is having experience of 15 years in the financial service, that is the bank. She is having experience with the one of the biggest bank in the India. So she has core into banking operations and working on some banking systems, which is Finacle and other systems. She's also done assignments on concurrent audit of the bank, as well as the working on the taxation and the auditing assignments of some of the clients of hers. And she's also active blogger, active writer, active speaker on the some platforms on the issues relating to the banks or RBI reforms or any such reforms related to banking sector. She's taking care of that part. And so I would like to ask Kanika to carry on with the session. And all the rest, Kanika, you can start your session and give a brief elaboration of whatever the changes are there in the economy and with the RBI. Over to you, Kanika. Please start the session. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm
So one
Kanika
thing I just
Bali.
want to, Kanika, your voice is not coming. One second. One second. One second. Yeah. Can you just speak?
Good evening, everyone.
Your voice is not coming.
Everything is
So
okay from my side, Prateek.
can you just remove your headphone and then connect again?
Hello, can you hear me now? Hear me now? Hello,
Yeah, I think your voice is coming now. Yeah.
it's coming.
So you can start the session, I think.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. This is
So,
Kanika Bali. I am a chart. Can you hear me? Prateek,
yeah,
can you hear me?
I got on from Ankur, so I think you can able to yeah, your voice is audible. You can start. So whatever the queries of the concerned person who is having a query, they can write on the chat box, and they can even ask in between by raising the hand. So yeah, Kanika, you can start. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. This is Kanika Bali. I am a chartered accountant. My detailed introduction was given to you by Prateek, so I think that is enough for the time being. So I think everyone is staying at home and keeping themselves safe, and the other citizens also safe. Because if you are safe, then the whole country stays safe. We have to follow the lockdown restrictions strictly. Coming to the point, today I am here to explain you the brief provisions introduced by RBI during this pandemic of COVID-19. RBI has come out with a number of measures to enhance liquidity in the system and to reduce the financial pains of the borrowers. So these two are the main objectives of RBI through which they have, on the basis of which they have introduced the measures. So first of all, during this session of mine, by the end of this session, you would be able to know what is moratorium, who all are eligible for moratorium, what is the effect, when you should avail it, then impact of moratorium on various loans, some other key points pertaining to the moratorium relief. The second set of presentation relates to liquidity enhancement measures. RBI has undertaken some measures to introduce or pump fresh liquidity into the Indian economy. So we will discuss these measures. These measures broadly are based on adjustment in the reverse repo rate and TLTRO. I understand that TLTRO is a new term for our financial sector. So this would be a little interesting part of the presentation for you, and how TLTRO can impact the borrowers. Though it is a very initial, study, but we are just trying to see how TLTRO could be of benefit to all of us or to the retail borrowers specifically. So coming to the moratorium, I hope everyone would have heard that RBI has issued moratorium for 3 months. This moratorium guideline was introduced by RBI on 27th March 2020. Like just on the start of pandemic, the RBI came out with this guideline. So what do you mean by moratorium? Can anyone share their views or their knowledge of moratorium? What do you understand by moratorium? Prateek, can you give the audio to that person who wants to answer this question? Can't hear anyone, so I'll continue with explaining moratorium. Moratorium is actually temporary deferment of payment of principal, interest, or installments. We need to understand the term deferment. Deferment means like something is due today, you need not pay today, you can pay after a certain period of time. So it is not a waiver. That's a very clear-cut indicator of RBI mentioned in the RBI circular itself. So interest shall continue to accrue on the outstanding portion of your loan or credit card facilities during the moratorium period. Right? It is a deferment of payment of your EMIs, your interest on loans, or your term loans installments, or your credit card dues. Okay. Now, RBI offered loan moratorium proposal for borrowers. It is a facility for the borrowers. Borrowers can be a retail borrower, it can be a corporate borrower, it can be an organization, a NGO, any kind of a borrower. RBI to implement the moratorium facility, RBI allowed all lending institutions to offer a moratorium to its borrowers. It includes commercial banks as well and NBFCs as well. So moratorium facility has to be granted by all financial institutions granting loans to their clients. Okay, whether it is a commercial bank, a rural bank, an agriculture bank, or an NBFC in any sector. Now coming to the point, what facilities are eligible for moratorium? We know that there are different kinds of loans. When we have some requirement, bank has coined a word for every kind of a loan. Okay, so which all facilities are eligible for moratorium? Basically, bank and RBI have covered all the facilities for availing of moratorium. Broadly, these can be term loans. Term loans are the loans which run for a particular term, and all term loans are eligible for this benefit, irrespective of the segment or the tenure. It is applicable to agriculture term loans and crop loans as well, home loans and car loans, plus personal loans, which come under the retail loans category. They are also eligible. Besides this, the businesses take cash credit and overdraft facility from the banks. So, cash credit and OD limits will get this benefit if the borrower opts for moratorium. Loans under pool purchases. Any loan under a pool purchase where a group of are making a single purchase and it is a loan under pool purchasing system, those are also eligible for moratorium. Besides this, credit card dues are also eligible for availing the moratorium relief. Now coming to the accounts eligible, we have to see this word very, very specifically. Initially, I told you about the facilities which are eligible for moratorium. Now, the which accounts are eligible. So, RBI has categorically mentioned that only accounts which are standard assets as on 1st March 2020 are eligible for taking this benefit. A question might come to your mind, what are standard assets, right? Does anyone knows what are standard assets? Pratik, can you give control? Hello?
One second. Yeah. So who is want to answer the question?
Did anyone raise their hands?
Himanshu can answer the question. Himanshu is there. So
Himanshu, would you
can you
like
just
to?
there's some audio problem, so you can continue with the session.
Okay.
So
I'll
yeah.
continue. I'll continue. So standard assets are the assets for which there has been no default of EMIs for a continuous period of 3 months preceding 1st March 2020. Okay. When we take a loan from a bank, it is an asset for the bank because the bank collects interest on that amount lent and it becomes an asset of the bank. Now, if we don't pay an installment for a continuous period of 3 months, Jan, Feb, March, okay, at the end of March month, bank will degrade the asset from a standard asset to a substandard asset and make provision for it. Okay, now substandard assets also have different categorization. They are loss assets, doubtful assets, and substandard assets, depending on the period for which their EMIs have not been paid. So, in case any borrower has defaulted for continuous period of 3 months preceding 1st March 2020 and his asset has been downgraded from standard asset to non-standard asset, then those borrowers will not be eligible to take this benefit. Okay, if you have been a regular and prompt payer of your EMIs, then only you can avail the moratorium benefit. It is not for the defaulters. Now coming to the effect of moratorium, what would be its effect? The original repayment period of term loans will get extended by 90 days because the moratorium is for three months. So the term loan period will get extended by 90 days. For example, a loan which was repayable in 60 installments maturing on 1st March 2025 will now mature on 1st June 2025. We are keeping in mind that the term loan borrower has not got his EMIs increased. Okay, so the bank will increase the tenure. This is a standard thing. In case you want to increase the EMI once the moratorium is over, then your repayment period might not change because whatever interest due would be collected through the increased EMIs. By default, every term loan maturity would extend by 3 months. All installments falling due between 1st March 2020 and 31st March 2020 will now fall due on 1st June 2020. So any installments which were paid by or which were due during this period will now fall due on 1st June 2020. In case, see, the banks launched the moratorium facility on 27th March, and they are covering the period of 1st March 2020. So 26 days had already gone by when RBI informed the relief to the banks and to the general public. In such cases, if your EMIs have already been debited or you have already paid, you can still request the bank and claim moratorium and request for refund. That would be the bank's call. Now coming to working capital facilities. In case of cash credit and overdraft, as you are aware, interest is usually collected on a monthly or a fortnightly basis. So if such facilities they opt for moratorium, then the recovery of interest for the month of March, April and May will not be done. It will be recovered with the month of June. When the bank will collect the interest for the month of June, then only they will collect the interest for all these 3 months. So whatever interest will accrue on your outstanding balance as on 1st March, you have to pay the interest together for all the 4 months, March, April, May, June. Now coming to credit card dues. Even credit card dues are eligible for moratorium, but interest will be charged by credit card issuer on unpaid amount. However, no penal interest will be charged during this period. So credit card already carries a very high rate of interest. It is usually 24% to 36%. So it is advisable to pay your minimal amount of dues of credit card so that you save on some money. Otherwise, you will end up paying a huge amount and for this deferment. I've just explained it point wise. If you opt for moratorium benefit in the case of credit card, you pay interest from day one on existing purchases. Paid the minimal amount to the bank, so you pay interest, start paying the interest from day one on all your existing purchases. You pay interest from day one on future purchases, whatever purchases you will make on the credit card today, tomorrow, or a month after. And in case in can you hear me all?
Yeah. It's audible.
Okay. In case you opt for moratorium, then you pay interest from day one on future purchases as well. You lose the free credit period offer. Okay, plus you'll be paying 18% GST on both the above kind of interest. So you end up paying too big of amount. Let us consider an example for this. Let's say your credit card outstanding is rupees 50,000. If you don't pay for 3 months, like you are taking the moratorium benefit, the interest for 3 months will be rupees 4,636. I have calculated it at the rate of 3% per month. If we add 18% GST on this figure, the number grows to rupees 5,470. That's quite a bit of extra payment, isn't it? You end up on 50,000 for 3 months, you'll be paying 5,470. That is almost 10% is your cost for taking a credit of 3 months. That is very high. So our advice is,
Panita, I have a question. So is there
yes,
any benefit of opting this moratorium scheme, or who can avail this scheme and can take the benefit?
yes,
Since
yes,
as you
Pratika,
are saying that the
I'll be
amount will be increased.
I'll be coming to that slide. Okay, just give me 2 minutes. We will be reaching that slide as well.
Sure.
That in what
Sure.
circumstances should we go for moratorium? So this
Okay.
was the example of credit card, that what happens to your payments if you opt for moratorium. Now the question raised by Pratik is answered here, that when you should take benefit. Okay, so we should take a benefit if there is a severe disruption in cash flow. A severe disruption in cash flow, like cash flow is your inflows and outflows, and the surplus is the difference of both. Now COVID-19 has affected every businesses in a bad way, and irrespective of the size of the business, how big, how small, whatever sector is, every business has taken a dip. In case you don't have emergency funds in your business, right? If you used to just play with the working capital cycle to handle your business and you don't have any emergency funds, then you should take the benefit of this disruption. But if you have some buffer, if you have some savings, whether fixed deposits for the business or your personal savings which you can pull into the business at this time, then you should avoid taking this benefit, because it will increase your borrowing cost to a large extent, which you can't even imagine. A common person who pays monthly EMIs on car loan or home loan might initially be happy that I have to pay after 3 months now. But no one is understanding the fine print of the RBI notification that interest will continue to get accrued on your outstanding. So once you don't pay the interest, your principal will be increased and you would be paying compounded interest on that. Interest on interest has to be paid by you. So it is actually a huge pressure on the financial pocket of the middle class or to any businessman. And I would suggest that we should avoid taking this benefit. You can also take this benefit if there is loss of income. So it is understood, when you don't have any money, how would you pay? So this sense will come to anyone immediately. When money is not there, how will you pay? Right?
Is it
So
not the harsh on the government to give this kind of notification? And since as far as the financial package is concerned, they are supposed to give the benefits to the customer and the consumer. And
right.
if they are charging the additional amount, or if they are charging the additional interest, is it not harsh for someone who want to avail the benefit?
It is harsh. It is harsh, and it is such a measure, like government says that we have given you this benefit, but its net impact on the pocket of the borrower is negative. It comes to a big loss. It is
Definitely.
not a benefit. It is
So,
not
so,
a
so this is
benefit.
the similar case.
It is a
This is the
like
similar case
burden.
of change in income tax in this Finance Act 20, wherein they have put in the two different conditions. If you can avail the benefit of all deductions, then you are not
Yes,
supposed to
yes,
take the flat rate. Yeah, so this is the
yes,
kind
yes,
of similar right which is there. Yeah.
yes. So the
So I think
government,
we got any additional benefit here.
right, right. Prateek agreed with your point. Now I will explain the impact of relief on the home loan. I have though written it as a relief, but actually it is a burden. If you go for this
So
benefit,
it
it
can
is
be
a
benefited only for those who is not having a cash, or is affected
yes,
the
yes.
cash.
It is a
Yeah.
relief for only those, but it is not a relief for them as well, because once like they would also end up paying extra in long term. They have to pay extra only. It is a
And
temporary
secondly,
relief. Yeah, it is a
for the
temporary
credit
relief
card
for
use,
them.
you are having a higher rate of interest. Uh,
Yes,
Someone is having a 24%, 36%, so they cannot avail the
yes,
scheme, since it will harsh on them to avail the
right,
scheme and increase the cash flow. So
right,
for
right,
as far as concerned in the home loan and the other loans, wherein rate of interest is very small, that is 7% or
uh,
8%, they can
right.
avail the benefit. They can take the
Yeah,
benefit
they
of
can
that.
think.
So I
They
have
can
one
think.
question, Tanika. Let's suppose if
Yes.
I pay a less amount of let's suppose I have my EMI is 100 rupees. If I pay the amount of 50 rupees, let's suppose. So am I
Okay.
supposed to pay a differential amount of interest on the differential amount? Interest is required to be
Yes,
paid on the
yes.
differential amount.
See, interest has to be paid on your outstanding amount, outstanding
Outstanding.
principal. Okay. So because you took a loan of 100 rupees, you paid back 50 rupees. So the balance
Hmm.
50 rupees that will means keep accruing interest, and you have to pay for these 3 months as well. Though the
Okay.
payment can be made in June, but the accrual will keep on happening. So I have given you an example. Let's say outstanding home loan of a person is 50 lakhs and the interest rate is 9%. Now this person wants to take the moratorium benefit due to his limited cash flows. He wants to keep his emergency fund intact for the necessities of life, and he says that I would like to take the moratorium benefit. Now what happens in this case? At the end of 3 months, the interest for the 3 months will be added to your loan amount. In this example, the interest will be totaling to 1.13 lakhs for 3 months. I have calculated it at the rate of 9% per annum. Yes, that's how much it goes towards the interest from your EMI. Therefore, the loan outstanding at the end of 3 months will be 50 lakhs plus 1.13 lakhs, that is 51.13 lakhs. Even though the RBI package talks about extending the loan repayment schedule by up to 3 months due to EMI moratorium, your EMI can change because of increase in the principal amount, right? Now you initially had to pay to the bank 50 lakhs and the bank has told you the EMI for that 50 lakhs. You didn't pay the EMI for 3 months, the EMI, the interest component. So your principal lending from the bank increased. So now you have to pay 51.13 lakhs, and for this payment, you have to either increase the tenure of your home loan, for which the EMI would stay the same, or you have to increase the EMI part. Then only you will be able to pay 51.13 lakhs to the bank. If you want to keep the remaining tenure same at 180 months, your EMI will increase to 51,862 after the moratorium period, and an increase of almost 1150 per month. So 1150 per month is not a big amount, right? When we hear 1150 per month, we think it's not a big amount, someone who has taken a home loan of 50 lakhs. But if we cover its impact for the period of 180 months, then this amount will total up to 2,07,000. Okay, so because you have to pay 1150 per month extra for 180 months because you have opted for moratorium, this would be the extra cost of moratorium relief for you. So now you can decide whether it is a relief or not a relief. Also, there is another option. If you keep the EMI same and change the tenure, you will pay 189 EMIs. That's an increase of 9 EMIs over the original tenure. So by not paying the 3 EMIs, you end up paying 9 more EMIs later. So isn't it better you pay 3 EMIs right now only if you have funds? By the way, these 9 EMIs are over and above the 3 EMIs that you won't pay now but later. I hope, Prateek, through this example of mine, you can understand the impact of moratorium relief on various kind of loans.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So wherever the value of the loan is high, it would impact the pockets of a borrowers in a big way. So one should be very prudent to decide whether to take this benefit or not to take benefit. I have also taken an example of personal loan. In case of a personal loan with an outstanding of 5 lakhs and remaining tenure of 36 months, the interest rate is 12% per annum and EMI is 16,607. In this case, if you want to keep the tenure same and increase the EMI, your new EMI will be 17,110. At the end of the tenure, you would end up paying around 18,000 extra. So on 5 lakh rupees, if you go for a relief, you'll end up paying around 18,000 extra, almost 1 EMI extra. So it depends on the borrower's financial position that whether they want to take the benefit or not, though it is not advisable. Now coming to this point, if at all you decide to take the benefit, how can you take it? The instructions from RBI and from banks is very clear. Usually banks would send an SMS or email to their borrowers on the registered numbers or the registered email IDs, and they will share a link. Once you click on the link, it will take you to the bank's website, through which you can enter your loan details or the credit card details and opt for moratorium. Some banks might also require you to visit to the banks who are not very tech savvy or maybe in rural areas where they don't have internet connectivity. There they can ask you to visit the nearest branch and take the moratorium benefit. You can also opt for it by visiting the lender's bank website. Every bank has put the moratorium terms and conditions and the respective links to take the benefit on their website. In case you have not received the email or SMS or no information is with you, You can find it on the bank's website. Also, I would like to add one point over here that every bank has its own specific way through which moratorium can be availed. So whatever credits you have taken from whatever bank, you have to read the terms and conditions very carefully to know whether you will be covered under the automatic moratorium benefit or you have to specifically avail it. I was reading ICICI Bank's way of taking the moratorium. So they have listed two kinds of loans. One kind of loans were there in which you need not opt for moratorium. They would automatically be covered under the moratorium relief, irrespective of any request from your end. And the other was this, like if you want to take moratorium, you have to opt for it, right? So even if you decide that you don't want to take moratorium, then also you should visit the bank website and see whether your credit facility is not under the auto moratorium route. Because if you don't inform the bank that I don't want to take moratorium, they would start moratorium on your credit facility. So it's very necessary to visit the bank website and see what all is their way of offering moratorium or not offering moratorium. Coming to other key points for moratorium relief, moratorium facility is totally optional. It is not mandatory. NRIs too can exercise this option if they have taken a loan from any Indian commercial bank or any other Indian bank in India. This point which I'm about to cover now still has some feeling of relief. No late payment charges, default interest or additional interest shall be levied during the moratorium period. So only the interest, like the basic interest component of the credit, will be charged by the bank during the moratorium period. They won't take any late payment charges or default interest or any additional interest if you have opted for moratorium and not made the payment of the due EMIs. Another relief is this: seeking of moratorium will not affect the credit history of the borrower. In case you go for moratorium for 3 months and don't pay the EMIs, it will not affect your CIBIL score at the end of 3 months. Also, the asset classification will not downgrade to substandard. Any standard assets who have claimed moratorium, their asset classification would stay standard only. They would not be classified as substandard assets. In case you have multiple credit facilities, like an individual who has a car loan, a business loan and a home loan, okay, so he has to, and even if he has all these facilities from the same bank, still he has to exercise the option for each facility. Okay, you have to take the option facility wise. So it is kind, gives you some flexibility also. You can take moratorium for your low interest borrowings, and you can keep paying the high interest credits back to the bank. Other key points are, option once exercised cannot be changed. So you should be very careful about the terms and conditions of the bank and your decision of whether to go for moratorium or not. Further, this is for slightly larger businesses. The 2 points which I am going to cover are for businesses which are slightly big or big in size. Businesses may request bank to reassess their working capital requirements. Like we take cash credit or overdraft limits depending on our working capital needs. So in this case, when every business has taken a dip and come down, then business owners may request the bank and say that we don't require this working capital now. Kindly reduce our limits. Request banks for reduction in their limits and reassess them. They may also request for reduction in margin on non-fund based facilities like LCs and BGs. LCs are letter of credits and BGs are bank credits. They bank guarantees, they fall under non-fund based limits. They can also seek relief in security deposit, but such requests will be decided by the bank on case-to-case basis depending on the merits of the case and the business plan or the difficulties told by the borrower to the respective bankers. It is there is no mandate on the banks to listen to decide in the favor of the borrower. It's banks call. They can either reassess the working capital requirements, or they can even refuse to if they think that this particular business is not that much hit by the pandemic. The next point of mine relates to the MIS, where the exposure of the lending institution to a borrower is rupees 5 crores and above as on 1st March. Then the bank shall develop an MIS on the release provided to its borrowers, which shall include borrower-wise and credit-wise information regarding the nature and amount of relief granted. It is for the banks where a single borrower in the bank is of 5 crores or more. Then the bank has to make an MIS of the reliefs granted to such borrower and share it with the RBI as and when required. It is to safeguard the interests of the bank in case of high borrowing clients. I hope moratorium relief and its impact and eligibility is clear. Prateek, any questions on this?
Yeah. So no questions is there, but
Okay.
so I have a question with you right now.
Okay,
In
you can.
respect of, let's suppose, so as you have told us that your credit rating will not be reduced or will not be considered for if you are opting for a moratorium period. So let's
Right.
suppose if I am not opting for a moratorium period, and
Okay.
even I'm not paying for the amount of the EMI which is there.
Okay.
So any credit rating will be affected of mine. So
Yes. For people who are not opting for moratorium and not paying their EMIs, the normal rules will be applicable. Your credit rating could be affected, and your asset could be downgraded from a standard to a substandard assets after the continuous default of 3 months.
So yeah, NPA will be considered for the NPA norms will be applicable for not non-opting of a moratorium period, I suppose. No?
Yes.
And another question of mine is, let's suppose if I am not opting for the first month,
Right.
I have not opted for the first month. I have paid the EMI of mine, and if I want to
Okay.
opt for the next month, can I do this?
Yes, you can do it.
And the differential rate of interest will be applicable from the next month due date, no?
Yes, from the next month due date.
Okay. Yeah, this is the question of mine. So if anyone wants to ask the question, I can unmute the mic, and he or she can freely ask the question. Anyone?
No questions?
Yeah, I think there is no questions. We can take up the Mrs. Roli Vedi is having a question of one. So
Okay.
1 second. Yeah, you can speak, Mrs. Roli Vedi. Your voice. So is your audio open? We cannot hear you, Mrs. Roli Vedi. Can you just type your question in the chat box, which is there on the below the last one? So can you just type your question? We can answer your question once we get the question. Anyone else want to ask the question? They can type it on the chat box. We can answer the question. I think you can continue, Kanika. We can take up the questions from the chat box only.
Okay, fine. Now, I explained you in detail about the moratorium relief offered by RBI. Another slew of measures introduced by RBI are liquidity enhancement measures. Liquidity enhancement measures, they aim to increase the liquidity in the Indian economy. So broadly, these measures are of two types: adjustment in reverse repo rate and TLTRO. TLTRO, new term for Indian economy and for most of the professionals. Even I heard this term for the first time. So TLTRO stands for Targeted Longer Time Term Refinancing Options. It is like a tool to enhance the liquidity supply in the market. Initially, this tool was exercised in the European Union to bail out the banks, to bail out the commercial banks. It was used by the government in consultation with the central bank. So taking a cue from that, Indian economy, Indian RBI bank has also decided to use this tool to enhance liquidity in the Indian economy, liquidity challenges to during this time of COVID-19. Now, I told you in my previous slide that RBI has made an adjustment to reverse repo rate. So we need to understand repo rate. Once we understand repo rate, we can definitely better understand reverse repo rate. So repo rate is the rate at which RBI lends money to commercial banks. Okay, even banks need money to lend to the general public. So in case banks need money, so it takes money from RBI, that is the apex bank of our country. The rate at which RBI lends money to commercial banks is called the repo rate. It is a tool to control inflation in the economy. Higher the repo rate, higher will be the cost of borrowings to the bank and vice versa. Okay, in case government wants to curtail inflation, okay, in that case, RBI will increase the repo rate because availability of funds will with the bank will be limited, and if they want more funds, then they have to pay a higher interest. When they have to pay a higher interest, they would use their money wisely, and this would impact in controlling inflation in the economy. So that is the use of repo rate. RBI has not made any changes in the repo rate during the pandemic. It is 4.40% as it was previously. Now coming to reverse repo rate. It is the rate at which RBI borrows money from commercial banks. The commercial banks also can have surplus money, and to earn something on it, the commercial banks lend that money to RBI on the reverse repo rate. So the rate at which RBI borrows money from commercial banks is called reverse repo rate. It is a monetary policy instrument which can be used to control the money supply in the economy. Money supply, you can say cash supply, liquidity, or this money exchange, everything. It is a tool. Repo rate is a tool to control inflation, and reverse repo rate is a tool to control liquidity in the market. So when cash-rich banks will park their surplus money with RBI so that they can earn interest. Now, what the government has done to increase liquidity in the market, they have reduced the repo rate, reduced the reverse repo rate. So they are actually discouraging banks to park their money with RBI. It is indirectly encouraging banks to lend it to the corporate sector, business sector, who are in requirement of funds, who are facing liquidity challenges. So one method undertaken by RBI to enhance liquidity in Indian economy due to the challenges faced by this COVID-19 pandemic is that they have reduced the reverse repo rate so that banks are encouraged to not to give money to RBI, and they are encouraged to give it to the general public to meet their requirements. Prateek, is repo rate, reverse repo rate clear? How can we use it to control inflation and liquidity supply in the economy?
Correct. So these are the two rates which is defined by the RBI. One is the rate which is on which RBI gives loan to the commercial banks, and the other one is the rate on which commercial banks give loan to the RBI. So these two rates are considered for the inflation partner.
Yes. Now coming to
economy.
Yes, right. Now coming to TLTRO. What is TLTRO? TLTRO is targeted long-term refinancing option. It is designed to channel funds to small and mid-sized corporates, including NBFCs and mutual fund institutions through banks. Now, it is designed to channel funds. Channel funds means channel liquidity to small and mid-sized corporates, including NBFCs and mutual fund institutions through banks. So what the channel will, RBI will give it to the banks who are bidding for the TLTRO options, and the banks will invest the money in this investment grade bonds, commercial paper or NCDs of NBFCs and MFIs. And the remaining funds can be lent to small and mid-sized corporates. Right. So this way RBI is infusing liquidity into the Indian system as of now. RBI will conduct TLTRO 2.0 for an aggregate amount of rupees 50,000 crores. TLTRO was launched in February. It was launched on 6th February. And at that time, no one was aware that the pandemic, we have to face the COVID-19 pandemic. So after the say happening of pandemic and all, RBI launched TLTRO 2.0, that is for an aggregate amount of 50,000 crores. The funds, the banks who would take the funds under TLTRO, those funds should be invested in investment grade bonds, commercial paper and non-convertible debentures of NBFCs. Right. So when banks will purchase commercial paper or investment grade bonds of NBFCs, NBFCs will have money, they will have liquidity. That liquidity they can use giving it to the loan applicants, isn't it? So that is the way through which RBI is trying to enhance liquidity in the Indian economy. Some more points on TLTRO. Now, once the banks have obtained TLTRO from the RBI after bidding, so they have to park these funds in the mentioned bonds of NBFCs and mutual fund institutions within 30 days. Okay, it's not like this that they can take the TLTRO finance and keep it with themselves. They have to purchase the relevant bonds as mentioned by the RBI. If banks fail to deploy funds within specified time, the interest on undeployed funds will be 200 basis points more than the repo rate. 100 basis point means 100. So 200 basis points is 2%. So in case the banks don't park the funds in the specified bonds or commercial paper, they have to pay an additional interest on the undeployed amount. So that is there to discourage the banks to keep the funds with themselves. Funds under TLTRO will be available to banks for a tenure of up to 3 years. It is that's why it's a long term, 3 years. Here we in the abbreviation TLTRO, it's long. L stands for long term, long. So it's long term because there is a tenure of 3 years for TLTRO finance. The rate of interest will be floating and linked to repo rate. Repo rate initially we discussed is the rate at which RBI lends the money to commercial banks. So in TLTRO this is happening. So TLTRO funds would be available to the banks at the repo rate. TLTRO of rupees 1 lakh crores has already been done in 4 tranches. I told you TLTRO was started in February. So in 4 tranches of 25,000 crore each, till date TLTRO of rupees 1 lakh crore has already been done in the Indian economy. That's a whopping amount indeed. I don't know where these funds are going. It's a whopping amount, but can't see anywhere in the market. Everyone is saying that we are facing challenges. We are facing challenges. No one is ready to pay to its creditors. Everyone is saying पैसे नहीं है, पैसे नहीं है. उधर RBI ने तो 1 lakh crore दे दिया economy में. So we need to see when its effect starts coming and when we can see that TLTRO option has started showing results in the Indian corporate sector.
What do you think? How these funds will be utilized? How these funds will be given to the general public? What do you think? What kind of a benefits can be passed by the bank?
Yes. So I will cover, as per your question, I will cover this slide of my before. What benefits it holds for retail borrower? I think means we want to know what comes into our pocket at the end of the day. These are high policy decisions. Even if the government does a TLTR of 2 lakh crores, it is not benefiting my household. So we need to consider how it can affect us or benefit us. So this is, though it is a very initial stage to judge anything about the success of TLTRO, my views on its effect on retail borrowers are this. with TLTRO, banks will have increased liquidity, right? Banks will have more funds with them. And this would encourage banks to increase retail lending options for car loans and home loans. This is the benefit for retail borrower. Also,
So
it
these
will increase the
TLTRO funds will be given to public sector banks or with the private sector banks also?
any bank who is bidding to RBI for availment of TLTRO funds. For taking TLTRO funds, we have to bid it, right? So we have to bid it to the RBI with our application, and if it is oversubscribed, then RBI would give it to the banks on a proportionate basis.
Proportionate
Okay,
basis,
yes, it is
Yeah.
will be given on proportionate basis, and all banks can apply for TLTRO funds. All banks under RBI can apply for TLTRO funds. Another benefit
Correct.
it might accrue to the retail borrower is this: it will increase the proportion of low cost funds with banks. The banks will get these funds at 4.4% and for a tenure of 3 years. 3 years is a good time to means get your balance sheet to a sound and stable condition. So when the bank will have more low cost funds with them, they might reduce the lending rate. They might. Okay. So two benefits of TLTRO which you can expect. Okay, you can have a car or home loan easily, right? And the another thing is this: it might in future reduce your interest rates on car loans or home loans. At this time, I can foresee these two advantages. Now coming to this question, why TLTRO at this time only? Why government has why trying to experiment with something new at this time? The answer to this question is that due to the COVID-19 pandemic has spread its ugly face across the globe, Indian corporates are facing major challenges in liquidity. Due to this, TLTRO was announced by RBI to avert the large sell-offs in the domestic equity, bond and forex market. Because every corporate fund is at this point of time it's cash strapped. So the government wants that means the equity of our Indian corporate sector stays safe. They don't sell it to foreign countries or they don't dilute it with through other options. So to address this problem of the Indian corporate sector at this time, to prevent selling of domestic equities, forex and bonds, the government introduced this TLTRO 2.0 scheme. So that comes to the end of my presentation. If anyone has a doubt, you can ask it, and we can deliberate on those doubts or queries. You can also email your queries on our email ID, any queries which you might have relating to moratorium or TLTRO or any other general query which pertains to GST or auditing. Will be happy to help you. You can mail us or you can even give us a call. Thank you very much. You were a very patient and wonderful audience. So it couldn't be much interactive, I think, because of the audio issues.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
still,
So this was a webinar.
I
Yeah.
think
So
we were able to value add to your questions and enhance your knowledge. And we would look forward to seeing you for our further webinars. Thank you so much.
So Amit is having one question in respect of.
Right.
So he want to ask whether let's suppose he is having a home loan of 20 lakh and
Yes.
he is paying his EMI on regular basis.
Right.
And so since this scheme is applicable for the month till the month of May only.
Right. 31st
So
May.
my May EMI will end on will deduct on 7th of June, or suppose whatever the date is post 31st of May. So will
Okay.
that period is also considered? So
No,
is
no,
this
that period is not covered. That period is not covered because the RBI has clear-cut mentioned in their circular all installments falling due between 1st March and 31st May. So if your installment is falling due on 7th June, right, that is beyond this period. So you can't take the moratorium benefit unless and until it gets extended. Okay. As of now, you
so
can't
what
take.
is the possibility of extension since due dates of lockdown is extended already. So what
Yes,
do you think? These EMI these monetariums can be extended, or
we
it will
can we
not?
can get we can get a clear cut indicator only in the last week of May. We still have 1 month
Last
to
week
go.
of May
Yes, last week of May.
or April?
May.
Okay.
Today is 25th April. Still 1 month moratorium is given by the bank. So they would only decide in the last week of May or maybe third week of May, not before that.
So what do you thought this TLTRO, whatever the given by the government? So will it benefit the economy, or it will improve the chances of improvement in economy or not?
Right now, it is too early to comment on this on your question, Prateek. But if implemented in the right spirit, it will
Hmm.
definitely benefit the Indian economy. Okay,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
you know how schemes are implemented over here. So we should be
Hmm.
positive about it. Though I am very positive about it. If government has done something, definitely show the
And
results, and there means something
I
good will come out of it.
I have some good news. I got one of the update from someone that India is going to head the WHO right now in the
Yes, yes,
coming months. Yeah. So earlier
right.
it was China. So some countries had put the allegation on the China that the China is involved in this whole program here, in this whole virus program, and so in order to detect, or in order to check, someone else has to take up the chairmanship. So India has
Okay.
taken up the chairmanship here. So that is a very good
I,
positive sign. And so I think as far as the economy is concerned, since so China is good. So as of now, the China is the major manufacturing hub for the whole of the world. And
yes,
since this issue is comes up with the, so nobody is trading with the China, nobody is working with the China because of it. This kind of issues, since
right,
the America and Japan has already withdrawn all the benefits and all the trading terms and conditions with the China, and they are looking for some different partner. I think the India is one of the biggest opportunities, and
right,
India can avail the benefit, and India can able to take up the opportunity. And I think I hope so. This will improve the economy, and this will enhance the economy. Though it will reduce the rate of growth, but definitely it will be beneficial in future. So thank you so much, Kanika, for your patience, for your great deliberation, and
thank you.
given a wonderful deliberation, and also let everyone understand about the TLTRO and rates which are there, and whatever the benefits passed by the government posters
Right,
financial package. So I think you have able to make everyone understand all these things. Thank you so much. So we have a huge audience of around
my
80-85
pleasure.
people as of now. So I think everyone is quite clear. So any questions or any doubt is there, you should write down the query on the given below email ID or the phone numbers. We can get back to you once we are done. We have checked, or we have uh, checked the problem. So thank you so much for your time, Kanika. So I would like to continue ahead and take
Right,
Himanshu on call, and take
okay,
Himanshu. Yeah. So Himanshu is there with us. Himanshu will take care of the Companies Act provision, whatever the changes are there in Companies Act. So I would like to introduce Himanshu first. Himanshu is a member of Institute of Company Secretaries of India (ICSI), and he is also having extensive experience in company law, arbitration, labor laws, legal and paralegal services, drafting of legal documents, and other petitions before the NCLT and before the courts. And he is also representing some of the clients of in the ROC, MCA, and NCLT matters. So I think Companies Act is one of the biggest hot hot topic as of now, since there are various changes are there in this schemes. So those scheme is